something, you are starting a new business idea, launching that business, and it doesn't go the way you've planned. It doesn't define you. It doesn't say that you are not fit for that business. No, it does not define you. So of course, what you would need to do is to reevaluate. Okay, so why did this not work out the way I planned? What can I do to ensure that I can improve? What can I do to ensure that the next time that I try doing this same activity, I'm doing it in a different way and I'm getting the results that I want? So when you fail at something, remember that it does not define who you are. So don't let it define who you are. Don't let it set the narrative for what your future would be. Okay, that's very, very key. Chase passion and not profits. So this is very, very important for everyone. This is very important for us. A lot of people believe that, if it's all about the money, especially when you are, you're young in the industry, you're just starting out, you're just trying to figure out your careers. A lot of people believe that, I just need to make money. It's all about the money. But you know what they say? You can have all the money in the world, but you might not be happy and you might not be fulfilled, right? Money, unfortunately, does not answer all, right? So while money is important and money is good, and we all want money because we want to be comfortable, but chase your passion, because that is the thing that would put that smile on your face when you're getting up in the morning. That is the thing that would motivate you when the going gets tough and you need to keep going to achieve your goals, your set goals for the day. Okay, it's that passion that you have for whatever it is you are doing. So you must always remember that you are chasing the passion and not the profit. And this is very key because irrespective of what sort of business you are doing, if you are a business owner, if you're working in retail, if you're working in a hospital, you're working with an organization, a health tech, whatever, that passion or the love for the vision of that company, right? And the passion you have for healthcare, if healthcare is where you see yourself in the next couple of years, and that is what will drive you, and that is what will get you to where you want to be. I'm reading a book currently. It's called Delivering Happiness by Tony Hsieh. Very, very interesting book. I'm not done with it yet, but it's really amazing. It takes you to the mind of a young man and his friends starting up a tech business, right? And just going through all the challenges that they faced building a billion dollar business. And I'm just quoting something from that book. It says, act weak when strong, act strong when weak, and know when to bluff. So that simply just says it all about mindset. When you are strong, don't necessarily make it a show off, right? Like, oh, I'm good at this, I'm good at that. But be humble, find that humility in yourself. And when you are weak, act strong. So when you are not where you want to be, act the way that you want to be. Do you understand what I'm saying? So act the way that you want to be, even though you're not there yet. It's tied to the mindset, having that strong mindset, which is very, very key. Your brand. So I was talking about your brand, just a little bit about it. But when you look at your brand, when you think of yourself now, ask yourself this question and say, if I was to ask someone, right, a friend, a colleague, my boss at work, if I was to ask them to describe who I am, my person, or to describe me with just one word, what would that person say? What would they say? What word would they use to describe you? So your brand is very important because you need to start ensuring that you're building your brand from now. That brand is what would sort of the icing on the cake of your achievements. It is what people would know you for in years to come. Either the value that you're delivering through your business or through the work that you do if you're working in an organization. Your brand is very key. So what do you want to be known for? As I said, if we were to do a poll and ask people about Taiwo, about Emmanuel, about you, Ismael, or about Samuel. I'm just calling some of the names I can see here. What is the one word that people would use to describe you across board? And that is very, very key. You need to ensure that what you want your brand to be, you start working on that now. You start building your brand. If you're a small business owner, you start working on the brand. It's never too early. How will others describe you? That's exactly what I've just explained. Find yourself, right? Because you can't build or develop a brand without knowing who you are. You need to know who you are. You need to know what your value proposition will be. You need to know how you want to change the world. What value do you want to add to the world or to the organization that you're working or to the business that you have? And a lot of people tend to simplify things, right? Even if you own a retail pharmacy right now, you're just a startup retail pharmacy, you can deliver value, great value to your immediate community, and you can build a brand for yourself. When people come in and when people hear about your pharmacy or they hear the name of your pharmacy, are they thinking integrity? Are they thinking customer-centric? Are they thinking, great prices? Like what is your brand? So this is very, very important. It's important for you as an individual. It's important for you as a professional, as a business owner, to work on your brand, to define what your brand is, and to start building your brand. So talk with others, network, build relationships. When you mix with people, when you meet people, that's also how you are able to even understand yourself and understand people. And it just gives you an idea of really how you want your brand to be. Okay, so that exposure is very important. Network with people. Go out of your comfort zone and go out and reach out to people. Go on LinkedIn. Chat up different people in different sectors that you might be interested in, and start having these conversations with people, and working at building your brand. Craft your elevator pitch. Your elevator pitch is very important. This is a less than I like to say less than 1 minute, but people will tell you less than 30 seconds. So a very, very super brief intro of yourself. So if you meet someone, you say, "Hi, my name is Bawo Ogunro. I'm in this, and this is what I do." That brief of yourself is very important. I believe that everyone right here in this seminar should craft and have an elevator pitch. It is very important. If you were to introduce yourself to anybody, how would you introduce yourself? This is part of building a strong brand, right? It is very important. Craft it, even if you are right now not, interacting with a lot of people. Eventually that will come, and you don't necessarily need to be a CEO or an MD or someone to have an elevator pitch. Even if you're a research, someone who is just into research and you are doing your PhD, you are in school, you should be able to confidently say, "Hi, my name is XYZ, and this is what I'm currently into. These are my interests. And, I would like to get to know a little bit more about what you do." Get the conversation started by having a strong elevator pitch about what you do, who you are, about your business. Sorry, going back to that slide. And lastly, create your brand strategy. So it's not enough to just think about something and say, "Oh, this is where I want to be, or this is what I want to be known for," but actually create a strategy on how you want to achieve that, on how you want to be where you want to be. So that strategy is, how can I, or what are the steps, or what are the ways in which I can get to this point B? Okay, right now I'm in point A in terms of my brand. How can I get to point B, right? What are the steps? What are the things that I need to do in order to build my brand and have this brand strategy, or have this brand story, or have this brand, this ideal brand of myself or of my business? So create a strategy. It is very important to your brand. Your SWOTs. What are your strengths? This is part of the building blocks. Remember, I mentioned that there are 3 key building blocks, right, to your building a dynamic career. So it started with that, and the first I mentioned was your brand. The second is your brand. Now we're talking about your SWOT, right? The first was your mindset. So when you talk about your SWOT, what are your strengths? You need to know your strength. Your strength is what would take you, I wouldn't say it's what would take you very far, but it's what will get you on a good start, right? Because you need to also build on your strength. Your strength alone is not enough to help you achieve your goals, right? There's not enough, right? And no matter how any one of us believe that we've either we've advanced in our careers, in our academics, or in whatever we're doing currently, there's always room for growth. There's always room for more. There's always room to continue to perfect where we are. So know what your strengths are, note them down, put them down, and put strategies or plans to grow and build your strengths, right? How can I improve on this thing that I'm really, really good at? Okay, so if you are good at, public speaking, right? How can I improve on that, right? If that's your strength, or if your strength is just coming up with innovative ideas, what are some of the ways in which I can, put all these innovative ideas together and come up with like a dynamic plan for my career? Ensure that you note what your strengths are and put together a plan to build on that, because that is very, very key. The next is your weaknesses. Obviously, you need to know what your weaknesses. A lot of us, sometimes we shy away from our weaknesses. We don't want to think about them. We don't want people to talk about them. We don't want people to know what our weaknesses are. We just want to shy away. We just want to sweep them underneath the rug. But it is very important to know that when you embrace your weaknesses, they begin to look like strengths to you, right? I don't know if you've heard of anyone or you've seen anyone who, talks about their weaknesses and you're like, it doesn't even sound like a weakness, right? I'm not talking about any physical impediment or anything like that. I mean, now we've seen that you can achieve anything irrespective of if you have any disability or anything. It's not a hindrance to whatever you can achieve in life. No matter what it is, you can achieve greatness. Nothing can keep you back, right? So, but knowing what those weaknesses are, if you're someone that is shy, you're unable to strike up a conversation with someone, it's good to acknowledge them and say, okay, how can I build on this? How can I work on this to ensure that I am getting better at this weakness? I am improving myself, right? So this is very, very key. It's a very key foundation, because for whatever you plan, whatever your career goals are, whatever your goals are, and whether they're short-term or long-term, if you don't embrace those weaknesses and find how to improve on them, right, and find how to turn them into a strength, right, there would always be those things that would hold you back from achieving what you want to achieve. What are the opportunities around you? This is very important. You need to be aware of your opportunities. And sometimes a lot of us, we don't see opportunities around us, right? Part of the opportunities around you could be a knowledgeable friend. It could be someone who is really knowledgeable about something. It's an opportunity for you to learn about that thing. It's an opportunity for you to get value from that person. So just having the opportunities does not necessarily mean, having a lot of wealth or having people who have money, or being opportuned to be sent to an Ivy League school, whatever it is. It is not those are not the only things that define strong opportunities. So ensure that you really, really critically look at all the opportunities you have around you, because that is very, very key to your success, to building that career, because you're going to leverage those opportunities, right? And as I said, nothing is too small. Nothing is too small. It could be that friend. It could be, someone. It could be a colleague or someone that you are chatting with on LinkedIn. Nothing is small, right? So know those opportunities so that you can leverage those opportunities to take you where you want to be. And then lastly, what are your threats? So it's also very important to understand anything that can keep you from achieving your career goals, right? Anything that can achieve you from achieving the goals you've set in the short term, your long-term goals. So if you're someone who's a small business owner right now, you've just launched a retail pharmacy, or something, what are the threats? What are some of the things that would, could it be, policies? Could it be, obviously, we know what is happening globally around, all around the world with the COVID pandemic. And we've seen its impact on businesses. We've seen its impact on, whatever sector you are, you're likely to have been impacted in one way or the other by COVID-19 pandemic. So we've seen that, obviously, things like that. No one would have said they foresee, they knew that COVID would happen. However, having known that, how then does it affect your thinking in terms of an idea that you have, right? Because if you then have, for example, an idea that, or a business idea or a career goal or a plan that involves a lot of physical contact, then you want to really think about that carefully, because you're thinking, okay, what could potentially happen with COVID in the next couple of years? Fine, we have the vaccines and all, but it's very, very important to be aware of the threats that might be out there, because those could potentially hinder whatever career goals or career plans that you've set for yourself. All right, so talking about career planning. So we finished the first part, which is just setting the foundation for really having a dynamic career, right? So now we're going into career planning, and I want to take a live poll. So I'm just going to go into the comment section and just paste the link. Please click on the link. Let me pause share. Okay. Okay, so the link is in the comment section. I would really appreciate everyone clicking on that link. It's a super, super interesting live poll that we're going to have using Mentimeter. So just click on that. Let me share my screen so that we can see the responses as they come in. So the link, as I said, to a very quick live poll is on the comment section. Please let me know if you've seen the link. Let me know if you are clicking on it and if you are taking the poll. So let me know in the comment section. Let's go to, all right, so if you're just joining, we're just about to have the live poll. Okay. So let me share my screen. All right, so all right, so I'm sure we can all see the polls. Minimize this. All right, so what are your short-term career goals, right? Is it retail, hospital practice, small business owner? Do you want to own your own business in whatever area, whatever project area? Do you want to be in the health tech sector? Are you not sure? Which is fine, because you don't necessarily need to know everything right now, but you just need to have all that you need in terms of planning and structuring. So this is great. Thank you to all that. Thank you to everyone that is taking part in this live poll. So majority of us so far, in the next short term, 2 to 3 years, we want to have a master's program, right? So we want to go do a master's program. Let me see if I can. Okay, I think she's muted. I was just about to mute her. So yeah, thank you all to everyone who's done this live poll. So it's quite interesting to see. Okay, we still have some more responses coming in, but so far majority of us are interested in the master's program in the short term, followed by retail or hospital practice. And then about 16% are not sure. And 13% are interested in the health tech sector. I'm surprised though that, a lot of just a very small percentage is interested in being a small business owner. I always believe that a lot of us are always thinking about starting a business or launching a small business. So, but yeah, let me go back to my presentation slide. Okay. All right, so back to the presentation. Thank you once again to everyone who's taking a live poll. It's just very interesting to see our thoughts and to see where we're thinking of in the next couple of years. All right, so what are the first steps to creating a dynamic career plan, right? So we want obviously a career that is dynamic, a career that innovates, a career that evolves, and a career that is eventually successful. So for me, these are the four steps to creating a dynamic career plan. The first is the step one, you need to discover yourself. I mentioned this earlier. You need to find what excites you, right? What will get you up at 4 a.m. in the morning and keep you up till 1 a.m. at night, right? What excites you? What is your vision? What drives you? What motivates you? What are your interests? This is very, very crucial, and this is very key, right, for you in terms of building a dynamic career plan. Because if you don't know yourself, if you don't know your vision, if you don't know where you want to be in the next couple of years, right? If you don't know your long-term future, if you don't have any idea whatsoever, it's difficult for you to craft a strong career plan for yourself. So the first thing is to discover yourself. And there are just a small group of us that we're not really sure where we want to be, and that's fine, because you only need to take it one step at a time. So if you don't know exactly where you want to be in the next 3 years, first start by finding what your interests are. So what do I love right now? What are the things that I'm doing that really excite me? Find, what excites you right now. And then if it's a sector, if, for example, you find something a bit interesting in the retail sector, right? You're going into that to say, okay, let me spend the next 1 year in retail to see if this is what I really want to spend the rest of my career majorly focusing on or working on. Is this something that I would find interesting? Set a plan for yourself. Find what your interests are, and then build a map to discovering yourself and discovering your passion in some of the sectors or the areas that you, in the next couple of months or years, you would want to I don't want to call it experiment, but it's more of an insight for you. So yeah, the first is to discover yourself, your interest, your vision. Hello, can you guys hear me? I'm not sure what happened.
Yes,
Okay.
we can.
Okay, awesome. Okay, excellent. So let me share my screen again and just jog back. I'm not sure. Let me see. Okay. All right. Can you guys see my screen? So let me just go back.
Yes, we can.
Excellent. So let me just go back. I said by saying that the first steps to creating a dynamic career plan, because for us, we obviously want a career that is, evolving, innovative, that innovates itself, and a career that at the end of the day is successful. So I said that step one is that we need to discover ourselves. We need to know what our interests are, our vision, what drives us, what will keep you up at night, what would wake you up at 2 a.m. in the morning just thinking about ideas, right? Discover that, because that is very important for you to creating a strong career plan for yourself. You need to discover yourself. You need to know what your interests are and what drives you. Step two is to research the industry. I said that you need to know what is out there and what are your options, right? And I said, let's not put ourselves in a box. Let's not say, oh, because we're pharmacists, we can't work here, we can't do this sort of job. You can work anywhere, right? No, whatever your interests are, whatever your desires are, you can achieve that, okay? It's absolutely important for you to know that. Remember what I had said at the beginning when we're looking at the foundation, when I had said the three key building blocks, and I said your mindset. So have that mindset that just whatever I'm interested in and whatever I feel, wherever I feel that I want my career to go, I can actually achieve that, right? So all you just need to do, obviously, is to create a proper plan for how you want to achieve that. But research the industry, find out what options are out there, because obviously you need to know what is out there in order to have an idea of even where you want to fit in, right, in the bigger picture. So very important. Some of us said during the live poll that said that we are interested in retail and hospital, and others had said that they're interested in health tech, and all that is great. So know what is out there, what is achievable, and find so that you can find out what your options are, and you can find out what exactly interests you and where you would want to be. And step three is evaluate yourself. So this is very key. You want to craft a strong career plan for yourself. You need to know, okay, what skill sets do I have? So fine, I know what my vision is. I know where I want to be in the next 3 years, right? Some of us have said that in the next 3 years, in the short term, we want to go for a master's program. That's great. So in terms of research, what are your options? What school would you want to go to do your master's program? What program do you even want to have? What course do you want to take? What courses are interesting to you, right? Because you don't want the next 1 year of your program or 2 years of your program to be really boring and for you to regret even going into that. So research, find out what your options are. And then step three, what are your skill set? What are the resources you need, right, to achieve, to be able to achieve this master's program, right, by so term, right? What are the things that you need to put in place? What are the things you need to put in place to ensure that you are achieving your goal, if that is your goal? So this is very, very key. I drafted in the next point, you see just sample goals that I had just put together just to give us an idea. But the step 4 is to create a plan. So as I said, even if you don't know exactly where you want to be in the next 3 years, have a plan to find out what you want to do or where you want to be, right? And set goals from there. So the first step is to set SMART goals, right? Because obviously, whatever goals you are setting, it has to be relevant to your interests. It has to be relevant to the vision you have. It has to be relevant to all the things that we had said in step 1, right? So, of course, they have to be SMART, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound. We know what SMART goals are. To ensure that you are putting down SMART goals to achieve what your ideal career goal or plan would be, right? So remember what I said in step 3, what skill set or what resources would you need? Because this would feed into some of your goals, right? So if, for example, you want to work in health tech, right? What are some of the skill sets that I need to develop that I don't have right now? So depending on where in health tech you want to be, you can say, oh, I want to work as a let me say as an operations person, right, in a health tech. But currently, I don't really have that much operations. It could also be maybe sales, right? I don't really have those skills. So how do I get those skills? You could even take online courses. There's several free online courses out there. There's several what is it called, apps and stuff that you can sign up for, and you get access to free courses. There's Allison. They're quite a lot. I will list them in the comment section so that you can research and then go through them. But there are quite a lot of them. So how are you utilizing these resources is very key. Ensure that you are crafting it and putting it and feeding it into your SMART goals. Those are very, very important. So as I said, I have just sample goals. We'll touch on them when we talk about career mapping. So what questions would help you craft a strong career goal for yourself? The first is, what are my short-term goals? Define your timelines, right? So we had said in the life poll 3 years, but what is your timeline? Is it 1 year? Is it 18 months? Is it 2 years? Is it 3 years? Is it 4 years? Are you looking at a 10-year plan? You need to ensure that you have those timelines put down. Very important, because if you're working with a goal and you don't have a timeline as to when you will achieve those goals, it's likely that you may never achieve those goals, and you may never be able to track your progress if you are very close to achieving your goal or if you are not, because you should always ensure that you are periodically checking your progress in terms of achieving your set career goals. So what are my short-term goals? Define your timelines. Is it in the next 2 years that I want to start my master's program? Is it in the next 2 years that I want to be done with my master's program? What are the resources you need to achieve them? So obviously you need to be able to pay for the program, right? What are the resources do you need to save? Do you need to, are you going to get support from family? What are the resources that you need? Again, I'd mentioned that if you're looking at just moving on up in your career, in the career ladder, and you are working within an organization, and perhaps you are an associate, right? And you want to grow to be a lead. You want to get promoted to be a lead in the next 1 year. What are some of the resources? What are some of the things that you need to do in order to achieve that status, in order to get that promotion, right? Those things need to feed into your goal. You need to ensure that you are putting them down, you're noting them down, and whether it's on your notes, whether it's on your iPad, whatever it is, and you're constantly reviewing your progress on those goals. But knowing what resources is needed and putting those resources down and having plans to ensure that you have those resources that is needed to achieving your goals is very, very key. And the third thing is, who or what can help you achieve your goal? So who can help me achieve my goal? Do I need a mentor? Do I need to speak to someone? So if you are looking at a master's program at a particular school, do you want to chat up someone on LinkedIn who's currently in that school to get some ideas about, it could be the curriculums at the school, how they're able to apply it if you're talking to an alumni. Ensure that you know who or what can help you achieve your goals, because that would be very key. It's difficult to sometimes achieve a lot on our own. It's important to know that sometimes we need people, sometimes we need help to get to where we want to go, especially if we're looking at certain timelines, right? If you are going to do something on your own and it will take you 10 years, if you have someone working with you and you have a mentor, you have someone who's helping you and you can get or achieve that goal in 2 years, I think obviously everyone will want to achieve their goals faster. So who or what can help me achieve my goal? That should be factored into your career plan. So I have just a sample career goal to start a 2-year master's program in data analytics at MIT in December 2021. Obviously, to do that, I want to save 1 million naira by November 2021 through saving 100,000 naira every month, just to ensure that I am achieving my goal. Because of course, without the money or without the resources, it will be difficult for you to go to any school to say you want to have a master's program, except you are given, scholarship. And even when you're given scholarship, you still need to cover, perhaps accommodation, feeding, and transportation, wherever you are. Be here in Nigeria, outside the country, you still have certain costs that might not be covered by just having a free tuition. So yeah, and then also looking at, do I need to have an informational conversation with an alumni of MIT? Ensuring, as I said, ensuring that you are crafting this into your goal is very, very key and very important. So the healthcare, what are the current trends? I've mentioned what we're seeing right now in terms of COVID, but looking at the pharmaceutical industry, I mean, we already answered some of these questions in the live pool. Where can I be, right? What are some of the options that are out there for me or you, right? Retail practice, hospital practice, obviously, there's big pharma. If you're looking at working with, some of the pharma companies like Sanofi, Pfizer, Novartis, there's health tech companies like mPharma, Drugstore, Stock, 54 Gene. You could also choose education. I think that there's a lot more light now on research and development. I mean, we can all see how the COVID vaccines were pretty much put together very quickly, right? Because it's a global pandemic, and we needed to ensure that we have vaccines so that we are reducing, the percentage of deaths we're seeing from COVID, and we can somewhat have our lives back, normal life. So it wouldn't have happened without research and development. It wouldn't have happened without people who are already doing that field. So I think that there's a lot of light going also into that. A lot of people shy away from research and development because they think that it's boring, or they think that you end up being a teacher. Not necessarily. So there are loads of opportunities in research and development. So as I said, what are the current trends that we are currently seeing? I know that I'm almost out of time, but so minimal contact, we're seeing this trend with COVID-19. I had once, I think it was last month, I had a client who had consulted with Rebirth Careers, and part of what the lady had wanted to do was that she, this is not healthcare, right? She was interested in having an online business, right? She's in the fashion industry, and she wanted to have an online business. She was particularly interested in having a physical space. So a space where people would come to train. She would train people. She would host a lot of training events for some of the fashion designers that would come. And, she already in her plan, because she had the budget and everything, already had, the building, the cost of rent. She already had the location and everything. And I said, so right now, because of what has happened with COVID impacting on a lot of businesses, and I just asked her a simple question, and I said, well, we can see right now that COVID-19 has impacted a lot of interactions, right? So even gatherings, why not begin to think about having some of the things that you mentioned? So trainings can be virtual, right? And some of the interactions that you can have can be virtual, can be done online, right? They can have online classes, they can have tutors that can achieve the same sort of delivery that she wants online. And find ways in which you're not sinking costs. Because I said, okay, what if, for example, you rent out this place, you pay and you lease it for 5-6 years, and for some reason there is some ban or whatsoever on gatherings for the next 6 months, you still have to pay your rent. You'd have accumulated a lot of bills for maintaining that place, but you're losing money because you would then be forced to then have some of these virtual interactions that, we're currently seeing. And at the end of the day, that could have been avoided, right? That loss, in terms of your funds could have been avoided. And, for her, it was more of an eye opener, because she looked at it in a different light, like, okay, how can I minimize my cost? How can I leverage some of the technologies that are out there to train people? How can I leverage what is out there currently without necessarily having a physical space right now, at least until we know what the near future would bring in terms of interaction. So as I said, some of the things that we're seeing is minimal contacts, businesses that thrive are businesses that thrive with, deliveries where you can, drop ship. Drop shipping is huge right now. So minimal contact because of COVID-19. Obviously, we need to be very aware of that, and we need to think about it in some of the things that we're doing. If we're going to work in an organization that is very heavy on that, I mean, obviously, you need to be very careful, because if that organization folds up or is closed down, or they're unable to maintain their operations because of some of the policies that might come out, obviously that would affect, the fact that you are currently working with them and you might be out of a job. So we're also seeing some current trends in big data and analytics. Data is very key. Data informs a lot of things. So if you are interested in, health tech, it's very important for you to really understand big data and data analytics. It will really come into play, especially if you are going into such an industry, to ensure that you are getting the skill set, you're learning on how you can use data, you're learning on how you can analyze data. Because that would really ensure that overall, when you are applying to such an organization, your entire portfolio is at a higher standard than if you didn't have any form of training or anything at all. We're also seeing, as I said, delivery pharmacy, for example. So people are in their homes or at work, and they are really thinking about, okay, how can I just order for drugs and have it shipped to me, right? If it's all about consultations, they're virtual consultations. I can have virtual consultation with a doctor, and I can have my prescription routed, and I can have the delivery done to me. So these are some of the things that we all need to think about as we're beginning to innovate, as we're beginning to think outside the box, to come up with ideas. These are some of the current trends that, we are seeing now in the pharmaceutical industry. And there are areas where a lot of us can leverage, areas where a lot of us can innovate and bring in good ideas. So delivery pharmacy, I think, is really, really huge. We already had a lot of people doing that, but obviously now is so much more. People are way, way more interested in having their drugs delivered to their door within, the shortest possible time. So so access, contactless deliveries, those will definitely, will see a huge growth in that as we go. As I said, research and development is also very key and a very huge opportunity there. Depending on where you are working, for example, there's 54 gene that I mentioned earlier, doing the genomics, a lot of research into all those things. There are a lot of opportunities in research and development. So if you're someone who really is interested in innovation as well, this is an area that it's definitely growing and trending, and we'll see a lot of huge impact with this as we go. Patient education and preventive care. This is also a trend that is getting stronger and stronger, because we've also seen the impact of COVID-19 and the impact of just educating people to wash their hands, wear masks. So where can we leverage as healthcare professionals? How can we leverage on patient education and preventive care to ensure that within our communities where we're providing that knowledge base, and we're strengthening people and providing them access to information that can strengthen the communities and reduce the incidences of spread of disease and all. So this is also something that is really, really, really key. So so how to stay ahead? Just very quickly, really, how can I stay ahead as a professional? You want to proactively research. So as I said, you you can't know everything, right? And sometimes we need to learn from people, we need to learn from others. And sometimes it might just be somebody in a field that you find interesting, as I said, just chatting them up and just hearing, what their thoughts are about either that sector that they are in or a sector that you might be interested in, right? So doing your research, finding out what is out there, finding out what is relevant to what you are currently doing. So this is really, really very key. So to those of us that are interested in doing a master's program, I would strongly, strongly encourage you to really think about what course you are interested in and what course you really want to do and how that course is relevant to the trends that we are seeing in the industry. And next is obviously to find ways to innovate in everything that we're doing. Let's think about how can we make it better, right? How can we go a step ahead? How can we innovate even within wherever you are practicing? So if you're in retail, if you're someone who owns a retail business, if you're someone who is working in a hospital pharmacy, how can I innovate? How can I bring, how can I make access to medicines much easier? How can I make access to medication? How can I make access to patient education and preventive care much more seamless, right, within my own practice? It starts with just that. And before you know, it is something that could, take you to the next level. So find ways to innovate. Don't just work with the status quo and be comfortable with your norm, but find ways in which you can innovate. And lastly, collaboration. Collaboration is very, very key. Honestly, I don't like people who have the mindset of I can do it on my own. I don't like that. I feel that together with others, we are stronger. And it is something that even within our associations, the pharmaceutical association, we're stronger together. We're stronger when we come together to think about ideas. We're stronger when we come together to brainstorm about how we can, make huge changes and strides in the industry. So collaboration is very, very key. Don't be shy to, strike up conversations with people. Don't be afraid that they will steal your idea. Remember that whatever idea you have now, it might be like 1,500 people that already have those ideas. So it's not whatever you are thinking right now, it's highly likely that somebody else is thinking that very same idea in that second, or has already thought about that idea and is already like putting a plan together to form that idea. So collaboration is very key. Let's talk to people, of course, not just anyone, but people that you can trust. And when you have an innovative idea, of course, you know that there are ways in which you can share those ideas. You need to have an NDA and put certain things in place before you're sharing sensitive information or ideas that you may have. But collaborate with people. Don't be scared to bring people into conversations about an idea that you are thinking. Don't be afraid to reach out to people and pick their brains about certain ideas. So yeah, thank you all so much for your time. I just ensured that I kept the time. So I think we're doing really good. I really, really appreciate your listening ears. And yeah, I will take questions right now.
Right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Pharm Bawo Ogunro, for such an insightful session. Guys, I'd like
You're very welcome.
Take our questions now. If we have any question for Pharm Bawo Ogunro, hang your hand in the chat box or you can send your questions to the section. Thank you. I see your screen. Could all share in the comment section what jumped at you in the section. What points would you say resonated during the presentation? It should be great to have that. While we wait for questions, I'd like to ask one of the questions from the participants in the registration. One of them asked whether you knew, whether you're here from the very beginning.
Your network is not very good, Taiwo. If you could type that question, I'd really appreciate it. If you could type it in the comment section, just so that I'm not missing anything out. But the network, I think, is bad. I'm not sure if it's from my end, though, but yeah, I can barely hear you. But thank you
Okay,
to
all right.
everyone
Is this better now?
Yes, much better.
Okay, yes. So the participants would like to know, they would like to know how you've been able to advance throughout your career, moving from one big organization to another. So two questions. Was your path clear for you? If not, how have you been able to advance so far?
Okay, thank you, Tayo. Yeah, and thanks to everyone so much for the comments. I'm happy to hear that it was very enlightening, and I'm really humbled. Thank you so much for having me. I think that for me, I always knew that I wanted to be in the healthcare. That for sure was the first step. I didn't know if I wanted to be in retail, if I wanted to be in hospital. I wasn't really sure. I didn't even think about health tech, to be honest. I didn't really think about it. In my mind, I said, oh, maybe I would be interested in working for big pharma, right? But I never really, all I knew to start with was that I wanted to remain in healthcare. I was interested in ensuring that, people got access to healthcare services. People got access to all the resources that they needed to be healthy and live healthier and happier life. So that was something that was very sure for me. So I tested a bit because, as I said, there's this 16% of us that don't really know where we want to go. I was in that spot at some point in my life. So what I did was I did a bit of retail. So I did a bit of retail and a bit of hospital, just for my internship and in my NYC. And I started striking off all the things that I knew that was not for me. So I knew that, for example, hospital was way too, it wasn't boring for me, but I'm someone who gets emotional. So while working in the hospital, people would come and you'd see people coming to the ER, or you see people coming to have. Okay, I'm back. I wasn't sure, what happened if it was network. Can everyone hear me? Taiwo, can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. So I was just saying that so going to Sanofi, and I worked there for about 2.5 years. And then I found it very interesting. I found sales and marketing very interesting. I think that's when I started building my passion. I started building that love for sales and marketing aspect of pharmaceutical drugs. That was where I started building that passion, because I love selling. I love, talking to people. I love having to sell ideas and come up with ideas. So taking that step from, okay, now that I've had this experience, I want to then do a master's, right? So, and I started thinking about, okay, what course would be in line with what I wanted to do, right? So I wanted to do public health, right? But what part of public health was I interested in? So I did health policy and health management. That was the course that I did at Emory. So health policy and health management was the course I did. And it was very, very insightful, to be honest, because at that point, I can see a long-term goal where I'm, possibly working with the government and advising on, health policies, right, for countries. So that was what formed that choice for the course that I took. So health policy and health management, and just mapping through, okay, what did I want to, what did I want to achieve in the short term and in the long term, and putting all that together. So from that to health tech, it's been quite an interesting journey. But I the only thing that I started with, as I said, was I knew that I wanted to remain in healthcare, and I knew that I wanted to work with organizations, or work in any capacity that would help me improve access to medications for people.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much, ma'am. I see that there is another question in the chat box. Okay.
And he took a data science course.
So Ernest is asking, he says he's quite interested in data analytics and science course. And he took a data, but he's not getting a hang of what would you advise him?
Okay, yeah, I can see the question. I think it's interesting. The first question would be exactly what I said. So what do you want to get from data analytics, right? What exactly is your goal? What exactly, so in this course that you took, this data science course, what did you want to achieve from it, right? Was it just to increase your understanding of data analytics? Was it to prepare you for a career change? Are you currently working in an organization that, where you are handling data? It would be good to have some sort of context, because you need to, of course, have a clear goal as to what part. So what do you want to do, as I said, with whatever your career plan is. So now that you know that you are in Hi guys, can you hear me? I think it timed out, and then I lost you for a little bit, but it's back now. So just back to the points that I was making. Can you all hear me? Just checking.
Yes.
Okay, great. So that's back to the point that I was making. What I would advise is for Ernest to have a clear idea of where he wants data analytics to take him. So are you interested in a particular organization? Are you interested in working for some organizations that are using, in which case you need the data analytics skill set? What you could also do is to look at some of the job descriptions, right? So if you have a particular role in mind, look at the job descriptions and look at what is required for that role and for someone who is working in that field. And then you can work backwards. So if you see some of the JDs, if you see some of the descriptions on the JDs, you can then work backward and say, okay, I don't have this skill set. I don't have this skill set. How can I then build on this skill set? What free courses are available, or what paid courses are available if you have the funding, where I can get some more training or some more insights into how to provide value via data analytics. So I hope that sort of helps. But yeah, it would be good to have a bit more context on what you were not really clear about. But I also feel that perhaps the course you took was not the right course for you. It might not be the right course. There's several other courses that you could take that would be very valuable to providing more insights into data analytics.
All right, thank you very much, ma'am. There's another question for you. The person is asking about the relationship between career choice and environment, seeing that many people troop to Lagos. It seems the opportunities are better here in Lagos. So what's the relationship between career choice and environment?
I mean, for me, to be honest, I mean, I was going to say I've seen a lot, but I don't think I've seen that much, to be honest. But one thing that I had mentioned earlier, and I think that I would want everyone to take home, to take away with you, is that wherever you are, you can add value. Whatever you are, you can be a leader within that community. I think that it's extremely difficult doing business in Lagos because of all the different hustle and bustles, right? And I know of some organizations that are doing very well outside Lagos. There are organizations that are thriving in Ibadan. There are organizations that are thriving in Abuja. I had an MD of an organization. He's actually into wholesale. He's not a pharmacist, but it's a family business, and he's into wholesale. So he's importing, different drugs from countries, and he started some sort of major wholesale business in Ibadan, and he's doing so well. And in fact, when I was talking to him, he was like, right now he's opened his second warehouse. He was really doing very well. So I believe that Lagos is not the be all for everyone. Lagos, in fact, is choked up. There are opportunities outside Lagos, right? There are great opportunities. So I don't necessarily think that you have to be in a particular state to thrive in your career. No, you don't have to be in a particular state. Even when you work with multinationals and some other organizations, you find out that they have operations outside Lagos. So you could work for Sanofi, for example, and you're posted to the north, you're posted to Port Harcourt, you're posted to whatever state, and there's business going on there. So yeah, just to say that there are loads of opportunities wherever you are, within the country, outside the country, Lagos, outside Lagos. Don't box yourself into a particular state. Everyone is coming to Lagos. It doesn't necessarily mean that everyone is successful in what they're doing here. Some people come and go. Some people come, their business don't thrive, and they go. So if you're looking at Lagos, obviously you want to understand what things are key to ensuring that your business is successful and your business can thrive in the environment in Lagos or wherever you are. How can my business thrive, or how can my career thrive? And wherever I'm going to, understand where you're going to as well. Is your idea, is what you're interested in, is it something that would apply to that environment? And that's how you should look at it. So, but not necessarily that, you have to be in Lagos. No, whatever state you are, you can think about what value or what will be relevant within that state, so you can capitalize on that, right? It's a better approach, thinking about career and environment, rather than just really looking at it from a Lagos perspective and everyone coming into Lagos.
Great. Thank you very much, ma'am. So I'll take the last two questions. So one is on networking, professional networking, and the other is on career in the pharmaceutical industry space. So the one on networking, the person is asking how one can network effectively. How can one network effectively? To be great if you could take the questions together because of the limited time. And the question on pharmaceutical industry, the person would like to know whether there are opportunities aside being a sales rep, being a medical rep. For example, if one wants to venture into research and development, there doesn't seem to be much innovation in this part of the world. So what are the opportunities available, the alternatives available? What would you advise?
Thank you, Taiwo. So very quickly, because of time, and also to take the next speaker, I think that for the first one, if you find it very difficult to strike up a conversation, it's fine. You just need to work on yourself. So some of the key tips that I can give is to practice. So craft an elevator speech, as I mentioned, because you need to be able to communicate with someone. Just a brief about yourself when you meet them. So if you're going to introduce yourself and say, hi, my name is Cyril, and this is what I do. So craft that short, less than 1 minute. The next tip is to practice saying or giving that pitch to yourself in the mirror. right? Because you need to be comfortable with saying that and comfortable with practicing that pitch. So when you practice in front of a mirror and you're very comfortable, you can practice with friends and family, right? And just do some role plays and strike up conversations with them and just have a conversation. And the next thing is to actually just start meeting people, because the truth of the matter is that we all started one day. Our first networking conversations were very shy, right? And we didn't really know what much to say. We didn't know if we're saying the right thing. We didn't know if but just start the conversation. And as you continue to practice and meet people and sort of you begin to build confidence within yourself. So as I said, you're not going to do it the first time and feel super confident, but start first by having that pitch crafted and practice in front of a mirror to get that confidence built, then in front of your family and friends, and then start having those conversations. You could start having those conversations where virtual. So you could reach out to someone on LinkedIn and just ask to have a virtual conversation. I think virtual is a bit more easy than in person. So you can start from there and then, just build on that. The next question that I think was asked was just about, I think, research and development in the pharmaceutical industry. I agree that there's not that much going on here, but as I said, I don't want us to limit ourselves to just what we think. Let's research. As I mentioned, there's 54 Gene. There are other companies doing a lot when it comes to research and development and using this to provide access to healthcare services and medications to patients. So let's reach out, let's research, let's find out all these different organizations that are here within Nigeria, what they're doing, and key into it. Find out how we can also be part of that, right? Apply to work with them. If you're really interested in that, apply. And also you could also build a foundation, as I said, by getting some educational training. So if you are interested in research and development in a particular field, right, you might want to get the training on that field, at least to build your understanding, to open your mind, right, to get you prepped. So either you're doing a master's, you're doing a PhD, or whatever, you're doing some research into that, you can make plans to go into learning into research and development, and then research on organizations that you can either do some form of internship with them or whatever programs that they have. And yeah, I mean, you can also just really look at outside the country. There are various organizations outside the country that are into research and development in the pharmaceutical industry. So yeah, don't really limit yourself to thinking, what is really out there. As I said, it's easy for us to fall into that boat of, this is it. And, just going to your last comment on being a medical representative, that is not all. There is so much more. There is so much more. I've seen pharmacists that are working in, big data. I've seen pharmacists that are in finance. I've seen pharmacists that are, in operations, which is what I'm doing, right? I've seen pharmacists that are doing great work, and they're not necessarily on the field, and they're not necessarily a medical rep. It's not everyone that can be a salesperson. It's not everyone that can be in front of clients or people and talk. It's not everyone. Some people is their strength. As I said, it's part of what I love. But for other people, it might not be what they're interested in. They might not look forward to starting their day and going out to talk to people. So if you find out that, that is not really what you love and that's not really what you're interested in, there are various other areas that you can add value and you can build competencies. So just research on it. As I said, there's so many opportunities out there, even with health tech. You don't have to be a medical rep or a sales rep. You don't have to be. There's so many opportunities in operations. There's so many opportunities out there, and there are companies doing really, really great things. There's a lot of startup companies coming up. I know quite a few. There's so many opportunities. So I think that before now, a lot of people felt like med rep is all that was there. But beyond that, there's a lot of funding going to startups. There are a lot of people with innovative ideas that have started companies, and they are looking for bright young minds, like yourself. So definitely research, talk to people in the industry. If you go on LinkedIn, LinkedIn is a huge resource for professionals. And just go out there and just search on some of the different professionals, and you begin to see so many people doing great things, and a lot of those things, trust me, it's not pharmaceutical repping or a sales job. So thank you. I think I answered those 2 questions. Ty will let me know if I missed out anything. Otherwise, a big thank you to everyone. I really appreciate the interactions and the questions.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you very much for your responses, Ma. On the final note, I would like to ask how participants can reach out to you, especially for those who would like to reach out to you personally. And please do not forget, you mentioned that you would share with us websites or platforms.
Yes, I'm going to post it. I'll post it in the comment right away, just as the second speaker is speaking. I'll just post it for anyone who is interested. I will do that. So I think that for those that want to reach out to me, you can reach out to me on Instagram at Rebirth Careers. I'll also put that in the comment section. You can send me a DM. I also put my email address. If you want to send me a direct email, that's fine. But yeah, thank you all so very much. It was a very interesting conversation, and yeah, I'm looking forward to the next presentation by the next speaker. Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you very much, everyone, for staying tuned for the first session. Now we have the second session. We apologize for going a bit beyond the stipulated time. We have with us from Cynthia Sanyaolu, who is the head of HR, who is an HR professional currently working with Lagoon Hospitals, and her career spans some time at Pfizer and AstraZeneca. She specializes in organizational learning and development, talent management as well. And we're so privileged to have her share with us how we can position ourselves strategically in the workplace as pharmacists. Thank you very much, Cynthia Sanyaolu, for honoring our invitation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pharm Bawo, for your succinct, presentation. It's stimulated a lot of, engagements, even though virtually. It would have been, it's a shame that, we can have these sessions one-on-one, but I'm sure that we all derived value from your session. So thank you for your lovely presentation. And to the entire PSN-YPG group, thank you so much for giving this opportunity. Kudos to you for putting this together, because this is very timely. This is so much needed. Okay, we're going through mega disruptions everywhere, as individuals, as businesses, even as nations and economies. So any lifeline that we get thrown at us, I know we grab onto it, and we seek, each other's support for clarity and direction on how to navigate these challenging times. So well done to you, and also for the opportunity given to speak to like minds. I'm so excited, because I know I'm amidst men and women, rather men of honor. And it's so refreshing to interact and engage with you. I typically don't have this opportunity because I don't work in core pharmaceutical per se. So yes, the topic that was assigned to me is for us to look at ways we can strategically position ourselves in the workplace to gain competitive advantage. And like Pharm Taiwo mentioned, I wear 2 hats for now. My career journey has taken me through several interesting twists and turns. I've done sales and marketing. I've done sales training. I've done learning and development, and currently I'm in the human resources function. I just want to clarify, I stopped working at Lagoon Hospitals a week ago. I've transitioned into the health management or managed care, HMO space. And so for those of us who are looking for options to explore, the HMO space is another untapped ground. And currently, I think there's a bill with the National Assembly to make it mandatory for everyone to have a health insurance plan. So that goes to say that that sector is growing. And I want to first drop that seed in your mind that for those of the 6% or so of us that are really not sure what next we want to do, maybe you want to join us on the managed care side of things. It's challenging and interesting. That being said, I won't take up too much of your time. So pardon me, my slides are not transitioning. Okay, I think that's sorted out now. I have a very brief outline. I'll talk to you about, I'll try as much as possible to make it practical steps, or to share practical, relatable steps on how we can position ourselves in the workplace, right? Whether we're in the corporate setting, or we're in retail practice, or we're more in the clinical and patient care, or whatever field. I think the concepts are widely, broadly applicable, and we can plug and play them with few tweaks into our current situations. Okay, then we'll talk about, so yeah, Pharm Taiwo, when she reached out to me, she wanted us to also talk a little bit about how we can navigate challenges in the workplace, especially with working conditions that are not exactly favorable. We'll talk briefly about that. And then, you know, sometimes too, when we're in, maybe we're in retail for today, and then we want to transition to the corporate setting or any other setting, right? Of course, you would have an interview and you'll get into those salary discussions. I'll share some tips with you from an HR perspective, how to engage your recruiter or hiring manager when it comes to salary negotiations. And then when you're already in the job, and you want to request for a pay rise, I'll share a few tips on how that can be done. So moving on, I thought to first research or find out, when we talk about positioning, really what should come to mind. Okay, so positioning is one of the terms that is used in marketing. I don't know whether it's the 7 P's now that they have, but earlier on there were the 3 P's or the 4 P's of marketing, where you talked about the product, the price of the product, the positioning of the product. And Pharm Bawo mentioned, she talked a lot about you as a brand, your personal brand. So see yourself again as a brand. Your positioning in career, in the workplace, in your sphere of, you know, influence, refers to the brand, the position, the place where you as a brand occupy in the mind of your customers. Your customers are internal and external. They are not people only who buy from you. They are people who your brand communicates to, who your essence speaks to. So your positioning really starts with you as a brand, and what place you occupy, and does it rightly give you the visibility or the right top of mind awareness in the mind of your competitors or your customers? And are you different? Can you be differentiated? Your brand essence and your positioning are key differentiating factors that help you stand out from the rest. And so we would, in the course of the presentation, look at a few pointers to help you differentiate yourself from this crowded market space and remain, you know, relevant, and to keep advancing your career as you go along. So I put up this slide, right? So when I was putting up this slide, really, I felt maybe I should take it down, or maybe I should make it less busy, because it looked like so much was going on, or it's so much is going on this slide. But I deliberately left it there because I want you to see things from different perspectives. I want you to see that as a pharmacist, there are a lot of opportunities out there for you. And I want you to also know that you need to be careful when navigating the murky, you know, career terrain, because it's not a straight road. It's winding, it's a network, it's a mesh-like, you know, setting. And so, but the beauty of it is that you don't need to go alone. They say if you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go as a team. It's good what you're doing because it will help us to leverage partnerships, relationships, handhold one another to navigate this complex career or job market. Okay, so but then open your mind to the possibilities. Pharm Bawo has already mentioned some of them, that the opportunities are open to you as a pharmacist. Yes, some of us are already in community or retail. Some of us have had a stint in that regard. I think by regulation, all of us had to do internship in one place or the other. A lot of us go to pharmacy, some of us go to retail. So yeah, we have that experience one way or the other. Now, talking about the other options, if you permit me to share from my own personal experience, when I started out as a medical delegate with Nestle, that was essentially detailing nutrition products, infant nutrition products. And I noticed that when I used to go and go out on the field to talk to healthcare professionals, there's a lady in Magodo, and I hear she's still there, right, who is big on infant nutrition products. When we were going to market to her, let me use that word, it was a business for her. She just liked she wanted to venture into that. She bring the products and sell. Later on, she gained certifications and additional, education in the field of infant nutrition. And guess what? She was coming back to Nestle to come and be a key opinion leader on infant nutrition. She started out selling, I don't know what her background is. She just started out selling infant nutrition products, but she now developed herself and became a key opinion leader for a nutrition company. And I feel that these are areas that are yet untapped, by pharmacists. I think we should think about going to the area of nutrition and dietetics, more so now that, all that is going on. So you can also go into beyond sales and marketing, you can go into regulatory affairs. Okay, in the big pharma, yeah, they have regulatory affairs and medical affairs units. So the regulatory affairs guys deal with NAFDAC product registration and so on. The medical affairs deal with, external relationships with key opinion leaders in hospitals and so on. We can go into government. There's no rule in the book that says we can't go into politics. I think more of us should get into politics. We should be partisan, not just in social media, and so that we get there and we can make some, policies and changes that would better the good of everyone. And like we talked about health tech, data analytics. You can go into healthcare quality improvement. When at my time at Lagoon Hospitals, the quality team, there's one lady who is a pharmacist in the quality improvement team, and that's a growing area to consider when it comes to healthcare quality improvement. So point is, the options are there. Okay, so I'll go straight into the tips some 7 tips that I want to share with us for how to position ourselves for competitive advantage and to be, strategic steps that would help us to advance in our career. So whatever your goal is, whatever your career goal is, whether you want to make more money, yes, in Nigeria, we pay our bills by ourselves. Nobody's doing much for us. We generate our electricity. Well, we're on our own. So when people say it's not all about the money, indeed, it is not all about the money, right? But then at some point, you might want to make money so that you can venture into. So whatever your goals are, whether it's to make money or to take on more complex leadership roles, or you want to switch careers like some of us did after a while, or you want to take on a new job, the first place to start is to define in your own terms what success would be. So you start with the end in mind, like Stephen Covey said. Go stand back, determine what the end game will look like. Tell yourself. So for someone, it might be governor of wherever. Okay, you start with the end in mind, and then you begin to work back. But don't let anybody define what success should be for you. Define it for yourself and define it in your own terms. That's a starting point. You need to be very clear about that in your mind, before you set out in positioning yourself for competitive advantage. Now, when you've done that, at least you're clear what your end game is and what success, so that when you get there, you will know you've arrived, right? If you don't do that, any bus stop will look like a nice place to stop. It will look like your destination because you've not, articulated what your end game is. But when you've done that, you won't chat around and faff around at certain bus stops with people who are going nowhere to do nothing. You won't. You'll be very clear and focused and hit bullseye. So the next tip I have for you is to create a path. So you've determined the direction you want to get to the destination, but you know that you need to take steps to get there. So you can map out for yourself what your career path should look like and set goals that are smart, like my co-speaker or panelist has said. Let them be smart. We all know SMART. It's an acronym for specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time-bound. Always put a timeline to it. Chances are that you might not meet that, or you would, but likely you will. The odds are high that you will meet the timelines, but it's better than setting goals that have no timeline at all. Okay, and then your goals have to be actionable. They must spur you to take action. Is it my friend that says he took a course in data analytics? I like the response that my co-panelist talked about. She gave. Yes, probably you didn't define the goal. So maybe you can go back now and define why you took that course, and then go back again and see if it's still something you want to pursue, and begin to look at those particular skill sets that you need in that area. Okay, if you're already working, like personally, if you permit me again to share my personal experience, in the current place where I am, one of my goals is to get promoted within 2 years, because I know it takes, a lot of companies have a policy that you have to have 2 performance appraisals. You must have done exceptionally well the first year and sustained that performance the second year before you get promoted. Although that's a rule, there might be exceptions. So my goal is to receive a promotion within the next 2.5 years. And so I must begin to set actionable, actions and timelines for that. And then, yes, she mentioned already that we should break down our goals into short, medium, and long-term goals. This is really important because it avoids the risk of feeling overwhelmed, by our goals and thinking, oh, they are too far-fetched. So when you set those big, hairy, audacious goals, break it down into chunks. What can I achieve in the next 0 to 3 months, 6 to 12 months, 18 months? Break it down into chunks like that. And also, if you're not sure, okay, if you're really not sure, like the 6% on the poll, that we're not still really sure what our short-term goals should be, there are people, mentors you can reach out to on LinkedIn or this Pharm Bawo. I would like to reach out to her as well, based on what she's doing. And so you can reach out to people out there. You're not alone, can help you decide and to map out a course. The next step, or the next tip I want to share, is really in the area of excelling in your performance. You see, in HR parlance, we say some people are promotable and non-promotable. They are the promotables and the non-promotables. The non-promotables are just there to maintain status quo, business as usual, just to keep the business going. And then there are those who are considered high potential, critical, top talent. They'll have all the fancy names for those people, and it's purely by sheer performance. So for you to be well and rightly positioned for career advancement, your performance must be top-notch. You must ace your performance reviews. Nobody is willing to have a conversation with someone who is underperforming. So ensure that you take advantage of every performance appraisal system that is set up. If you are on your, if you're working for yourself, please, I advise you to set KPIs, key performance indicators for yourself. Set objectives and goals for yourself. Appraise yourself, or outsource that function. Get somebody, a human resources person or somebody to come and conduct the performance appraisal for you based on your key performance indicators. It's something we should have. It always helps us to keep our minds, on the goal, on the target. And of course, we talked about personal brand. Wouldn't you be, rather be known as the high flyer, the super achiever? So we must take our performance very seriously. Okay, and the next tip I have, remember I told you I have 7 tips. So the 4th tip is to take advantage of opportunities to lead or grow new skills. If you are within a structured or corporate organization, within retail, now if there are opportunities, right, for you to work on projects, or to volunteer or engage in something that interests you, don't shy away from those opportunities. They help you to be visible, and they help you to work with people who know more than you do. And that can rub off. You can get 1 or 2 new skills and insights, or develop your skill sets and from the insights that you get from them. So be on the lookout for opportunities to take on additional responsibility. But please, a note of caution. You need to be careful not to take on too much. Otherwise you will drop the ball. So if you're juggling 2 balls, yes, you can manage, but if you're juggling too many balls, one will have to drop and give way for the other. So in volunteering, in raising your hand up to say, I would like to take on more, just, be sure, be realistic, and be sure you're not taking on too much. At the time when February last year, there was a vacant position for an HR manager in Lagoon Hospitals where I was. And I put my hand up to say, I would love to support and take on more responsibilities in that area. And I was given that opportunity, but I wasn't promoted into the role, but I stepped into that and I became like the second in command or in charge to the head of HR. And that was, for 9 months, it was a great learning experience. Look, when I redid my CV, I was surprised at how much I was able to, gain, how much new competencies I was able to develop by just saying I'm available to volunteer and step in and combine the 2 roles. And I have no regrets. The 5th tip I want to share is in terms of, always be growing, always be learning. When we stop learning, we stop growing. When we stop growing, it's a recipe for disaster. So determine for yourself. A lot of us want to go for our postgrad. I was one of the people who said, I want to go for my master's. I want to get an MBA. Okay, so always, be on the lookout for opportunities to strengthen and freshen your skill sets. And if your organization has any opportunities out there, please cash in on them, leverage that to develop and to hone your skill sets. Professional networking, we can't overemphasize the benefits of that. Okay. Okay, so it has a gamut of benefits. You will get to learn from industry experts, the trends and what's going on. You get to know about emerging opportunities. You meet career mentors. So I've been blessed and fortunate that a lot of my the jobs that I got were through referrals. I met people and I told them what my goals were and my desire to work in XYZ company, and God has just been faithful. They would call me shortly after to say, oh, there's an opportunity in our organization. Would you be interested? So sometimes that helps you to get informed when opportunities come out. A lot of job opportunities are not advertised. I'm an HR professional. I can tell you for a fact, a lot before we advertise, I mean, maybe entry-level roles, okay, but like 0 to 1 year experience, real fresh entry-level roles. But a lot of roles are not advertised. So when you network strategically, you get to know when opportunities arise. And when you talk to people and tell them what your aspirations are, chances are when the opportunities, they will remember you. And so these are just few strategies for professional networking. For those of us, like Pharm Bawo said, for those of us who are not exactly outgoing, good enough, COVID has come and has shown us that we can achieve a lot more without physical interactions per se. So attend events and like this, virtual career fairs, sign up, identify professional groups you want to belong to, sign up to attend their WhatsApp or Telegram or Zoom networking sessions. Just remain visible and network. Then your resume. Now, it doesn't matter whether you have no work experience. Well, fortunately for us, I mean, as pharmacists, your 1 year internship is already work experience for you. So it doesn't matter how many years of experience you have, 1 or 10 or 15. Your resume must always remain updated. It's a living, working document, because as you are advancing, you're gaining new skills, you're becoming more competent. Your resume speaks for you when you're not there. So it should be, you keep it updated. I mean, you never know when it will come in handy. Okay, so one tip is have a master copy of your resume, and as changes come up, go back to your master copy, add that additional course you've completed, those skills that you have acquired, those assignments you've completed, your recent accomplishments, put them there. Time and chance will happen, and those things, those things will work for you. And then also pay attention. Oh goodness, as an HR person, I've seen resumes. Let's avoid the pitfall of having a shabby resume. It speaks for you when you're not there. So it must be crisp, succinct, professional. It must connote your personal brand. And there are a lot of templates out there you can use. They're free and open source. Make sure your resume speaks of your personal brand. Okay, so let me move quickly to, I don't know how much time I've got, but I'm almost through anyway. So let me move quickly to, what if you encounter challenges? And I can promise you, I can tell you for free that, in this career pursuit and in this pursuit for greatness and happiness and whatever, you would always, it's not a straight road. There will always be challenges. It's part of the drill. Okay, so when you come across these challenges, what do you do? So these are tips. Again, like I said, I just want to share practical insights. These are tips to help you to navigate when you have issues in the workplace, or you feel stuck and in a rut in your career, or there are challenges and some bit of topsy-turvy bumps on the road. First things first, you have to stay positive. These two will come to pass. Assure yourself that you will overcome the challenge. It starts from there. Giving in would not get us anywhere. So I was in a situation where I wasn't given the opportunity to interview for a role that I was interested in. And so that meant a lack of promotion. So external candidates were interviewed. I'm a human being. It hit me the first time, but I quickly took a few steps back and tried to see the brighter side of things. And I know that it's not the end. So when it's getting to the pressure is getting too much, admit when you need help. We should have that friend or that mentor or that trusted person, or even your boss, that you can go to when you feel overwhelmed. And then look at the challenges really from all sides. A lot of these challenges come with opportunities embedded in them. that we don't get to see. So when you dissect the problem and script down possible solutions, that makes you feel less, overwhelmed. It makes you feel like, yeah, I can surmount this. I have a blueprint. I have a master plan. I think I know what to do to solve this problem. And so be a problem solver. That's the point. Break down, look at things, critically appraise the situation, and set those baby steps and those little goals to, that daily, when you work towards that, they will help you to overcome or surmount that challenge. The power, they say, lies in consistency. Okay, so it's what you do consistently over time that matters. 1 minute, my slides are not transitioning. Okay, then again, in the workplace, retail, corporate, wherever you are, health tech, learn to develop healthy workplace relationships. No man is an island. Okay, so have that co-worker that has similar values as yours, who when you're around them, they exude positive energy, around them, that is infectious and contagious, and they just have a way of encouraging you and making you feel better. I think you should have those kind of relationships in the workplace, those kind of people, and also be that kind of person. Then focus on your work, okay? Don't focus on the situation or the challenges, focus on your work. Stephen Covey has this great book, and I want to recommend that to a lot of us. When I first started in Pfizer, my boss, Mr. Yinka Zubar of Pharm Zubar, gave me this book, told me to read it and do a presentation at the Plan of Action meeting for over 100 people. I had not spoken to a crowd before. That was my first role as a trainer. And he gave me this book and it stuck with me. Okay, so Stephen Covey says you have your circle of influence and your circle of concern. Your circle of concern will always be greater than your circle of influence. And those are the things you can't do anything about. So if there are things you know that you can't do, there are government policies, it's beyond you. So you just have to focus on what you can influence and what you can do. And don't be bogged down by those things that you can't control or you can't change. Then have an exit strategy. Look, if the situation and the challenge begins to tell on your mental health, your physical health, it becomes a nightmare. In fact, it feels like your life is threatened. Please have an exit strategy. Maybe you need to step back and reevaluate things and pick up from there. There's no shame in that. Okay, quickly again, I'll move on to when you want to take on a new job, or you're changing jobs and careers, or that beautiful opportunity comes up. Maybe Pharm Bawo is recruiting on her team, and she reaches out to you, and she's done her part, and then it's over to HR, and you're discussing and negotiating salary. These are a few tips to help you, get that discussion rolling. Although for a lot of corporate organizations, entry-level roles already have a set benchmark in terms of how much they're going to pay. But should you find yourself in a situation where the pay is subject to negotiation, you can apply one or two of these tips. First, do your research and know what's the compensation. And I use the word compensation very deliberately. The total package, not just the salary, but the benefits. It's their health insurance, it's their pension. So do your research and find out what is applicable in that industry that you are interested in. Maybe it's hospital, healthcare, maybe it's corporate pharma. Just do your research, call up friends. That's why it's good for you to have a wide professional network, so that they'll tell you what applies and what obtains. That way it will form the basis of your discussion. Know your worth. Look at the experiences you have, the certifications, the additional degrees. Look at every other thing that you have, okay, that you bring to the table, and value yourself based on that. Okay, so when I was moving to Lagoon, my recruiter told me, that when I'm negotiating, I should negotiate based on my value and my worth. That no one truly can pay you your worth and your value, but then you have to, put it out there that, this is what I know I am worth, based on this, that, based on my experience and my competencies and my additional qualifications and so on. Then with that, have a range in mind. Don't give a single figure. When you give a single figure, when you have an opportunity to negotiate your salary, don't give just that single, I want 150,000 naira take home. Give a range. Reason being that when you give a single figure, that's it. You made the recruiter and the hiring manager and the HR managers work very simple. They say, but that's what you said. So that's what they'll give you. So give a range. I'm looking at between 150,000 naira to 250,000 naira based on the budget, depending on the budget you have for the role. And please don't sell yourself short. A lot of us don't negotiate total package or total compensation package. We negotiate just the salary, just the take home. I just want to collect 150,000 naira. But you must also negotiate things. Ask them if they do, if you are entitled to HMO, that's your health plan. What percentage of pension is the employer going to pay on your behalf? Is there lunch? Is there telephone allowance? Do your data subscription, is it going to be paid for? When you do your research and know what is obtainable in that industry, then you can begin to ask them these questions when you're negotiating, and that will give you an idea of what you're signing up for. Please, when you're negotiating, it doesn't matter how quote and unquote young you are, or how much experience you feel you don't have. Be confident and not arrogant, because this is your career, this is your destiny that we're talking about. So in your communication, you without coming off as rude or arrogant or offensive, you should be able to assert yourself as well and find out, if the offer is negotiable. If they tell you it's not negotiable, then well, that's what it is. If the offer is negotiable and the first offer doesn't really sit well with you, ask for maybe 24 hours, 28 hours to get back. I would advise, and I think it's best practice, not to jump at the first offer. Just politely ask for 24. Can I get back to you tomorrow or 2 days afterwards? So that you can also discuss that, and also for yourself to determine if that's what you want. And then find out again if there's provision for your salary to grow based on performance, or based on, some companies do inflationary increases. So every year, because of the devaluation, your salary would get increased by a certain percentage. Some organizations, like when we're in Nestle, there was a flat rate that gets added to your salary every year because of the union of that employees belonged to. So you could find out so that you also know what you're up against. Okay, and then when you are already on the job, and maybe you've been there and your salary has remained static, it hasn't grown, and things are, inflation has set in and things are expensive and the salary is no longer, what it should be. Or, you've excelled, you've been a consistent high flyer, maybe that's time for you to ask for a raise. There's nothing wrong with that. But then you have to be careful. You need to choose a good time to ask for a raise. It's not when the company is thinking of restructuring because business has been tough, or it's not when there's a salary cut that you would go and ask for a pay raise, or when the business is in turmoil. That's not the time to go ask for a pay raise. And then, of course, we said earlier that we must all target, a performance level that is superior, that is exceptional. Okay, and you can leverage your performance and when you're receiving strong commendations as a time to ask for that raise. So during your performance appraisal discussions, or when your performance is being discussed, that's a good time also to pitch in your request for a salary raise. And also craft the conversation in your mind, prepare ahead how you want the conversation to go, so that once the opportunity comes, you cash in on that. And then be prepared to justify the pay raise, because line managers, business owners, executives, they will always ask you to justify why you should be paid an additional amount. So an easy way that I think can help you start a discussion when you want to talk about, your pay being increased is, it's not prescriptive. It's just an example of how you can set the tone for the conversation. And you might say something like, I'm looking forward to working and growing with this company. I'm grateful for the opportunity given to add value. And I'm interested in discussing my salary, considering my track record of strong and consistent performance. This just to give you an idea, like I said, it's not prescriptive. It's not a prescription at all. So should you find yourself in a situation where you would want to ask for a pay raise, these are a few tips that I think you can, adopt and adapt as applicable to your situation. And I think I've come to the end of my presentation. So I want to thank you so much for sitting through and listening. And I'll hand over to Pharm Taiwo. Should there be questions or comments? Thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you very much, Ma, for such an insightful session. Thank you so much for delivering value to us. We're truly grateful. At this point, we'll take questions if we have any. Kindly raise your hand or type your question in the chat box. Great. Thank you, Daniel. Amazing value delivered. Great. Should be great to also have you type in the chat box the points that jumped at you, what resonated with you. I see someone raising their hand. Okay. Nonya, please go ahead. Kindly unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hi, Nonya.
Hi, good evening.
Evening.
Good evening. Thank you so much for, everything you've taught us today. I really appreciate. But the question I want to ask is, how does one transit from being a pharmacist into the HR sector? And I'm asking because I know that this is what you're actually doing now. I've been thinking about it, and I really don't know, if it's possible, what courses to take. Am I supposed to do a master's degree in something related to HR? In general, what steps do I have to take to achieve that? Thank you, Ma.
All right, thanks, Pharm Nonya. Thank you for your question. So yes, from the much I've gathered from the HR space, right? Honestly, it's a large minefield. There are a lot of players from different backgrounds in the HR space. You have chemical engineers, both biologists, zoologists. There's different biochemists. So yes, why not professionals like you and I? Okay, so if I have no regrets, but if I know what I know now, back then, I would have gone for certifications. Reason being that my entering into HR was more of, by divine, I would say by providence. Okay, so I had left AstraZeneca. AstraZeneca had let us go because the business was not doing well. It was in 2016, the dollar crisis, and gradually AstraZeneca began to restructure till everybody was let go of. So I had 4 months to stay at home and think of what next to do. And so I sat down beside the head of HR at an HR conference, head of HR at FitSyn at an HR conference. I was blessed to sit beside her and we started chatting. And I told her I would love to transition to HR. I've been wanting to do that a while ago. And so I was lucky. I would say it's luck, right? That I got an opportunity. She referred me for an HR role But this is the caveat. It was a junior role. After working for 13 years, I had to start from the ground up, but I didn't mind because, you know, that was experience I was gaining. So there are different routes to getting into HR. You could, yes, do a postgraduate in human resources management. You could get certifications like the one from the HR Certification Institute in the USA. It's very practical, it's experiential. I recommend that, and getting a CIPM certification, that's Chartered Institute of Personnel Management, is also important. And it's good to do the CIPM because it allows you to network and be amongst HR leaders. You can also leverage platforms, professional platforms. There are a lot of professional platforms for HR people on LinkedIn, on Facebook. You know, take courses. I started with taking courses from Kendall Consulting in starting a career in HR, because I once went for an interview in Swiffer and I was asked to bring my portfolio of evidence and why I want to demonstrate why I want to come into HR. And I didn't have, I had not invested in those things. So I was not given the opportunity. So I don't want some of us to make that mistake. So if you're very clear that you want to, you know, transition into HR, begin, you know, by taking these steps. And of course, talk to as much as possible, right? When you meet people, when you meet leaders in the HR space, tell them of your desire to transition into HR. When there's an opportunity, chances are out of so many of them, you would get called upon, but you don't want a situation whereby you are called upon for that opportunity and you've not even done a single course, you know, even a free online course to demonstrate your passion to move into the HR space. So I don't know if that helps to answer. If I'm going to summarize, I would say get a postgrad, but you know, a postgrad is it takes your time, is expensive. I'm not so sure, but certifications, courses, networking, and looking for volunteer opportunities. Yes, you could also look for opportunities to volunteer in an HR department, and Laguna Hospitals has a vibrant HR department. The head of HR she was my boss for 2.5 years, permits me to blow her trumpet. She's wonderful. She's a developer of people, you know, and she gives people the opportunity, but you also have to demonstrate how much investment you put in, you know, on yourself to develop yourself in that area. So Pharm Nonya, I don't know if that helps a bit to answer your question. Okay. Hello.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. She has responded. She said it helped.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you very much, ma'am. We have more questions in the comment section. And Pharm Desire is asking, what do you suggest one does when the company is restructuring, but you really do need a pay raise?
Pharm Desire, I don't want to push it back to you, but really, when the company is restructuring, it probably might make you stand out in the bad light when you actually go ahead to ask for a pay raise. Okay, because they're restructuring for a reason. Probably their finances are not balanced, or they have too many people and they want to, so they're letting go of people to save costs. The point is that they're restructuring to save costs. At that stage, discussions about salary raises might not see the light of day. Okay, so maybe what can help is cashing on the performance appraisal. When performance is concluded and your performance is appraised and you know you did very well, now you can have that discussion with your line manager and say, what are the possibilities of a performance-based raise based on my track record of, you know, strong performance, my passion and commitment and desire, and I've been consistent. What are the chances of, so you are, in my mind, you're safer with your line manager, your direct supervisor, Your direct supervisor can now tell you what's feasible and see if that can be escalated to management. But you need to approach that, with great caution. You need to approach that with great caution. When the company is restructuring, it's really not the time to ask for a pay raise. But you can wait till when performance appraisal time comes, and then pitch that in to your manager. And fingers crossed, at least you've sown a seed. They know that this is what you're thinking of or looking at. Okay, so I don't know if that helps.
Right. Thank you very much, ma'am. If we have more questions, it would be great to raise our hands or type the questions in the comment section. Pharm Irenosen is asking, most free CV and resume templates give a permanent footnote. For example, powered by so and so. During your role as HR, as an HR professional, does this in any way negatively affect the chances of the applicants having footnotes on their CV or resume templates? On the CVs or resume?
In my opinion, is not a deal breaker. It's not going to ruin your chances of getting a job. It's the content, right, that is on your CV that matters, and how you are able to, and how that matches, your experiences and your competencies. But we're talking about our personal brand and what our CV connotes when we're not there. If you don't get away of getting rid of that, or looking for a template that doesn't have that footnote, it might make you come off as being lazy, like you didn't take the time to work on your CV, and you just probably went to go and get a free tool out there and copy and paste and put something together. So it might not come off as professional as you want it to be. So I advise that. Now, I can't remember off the top of my head the name of the one I used when I crafted my CV for the HR role, but it didn't come with any footnote. There was a free trial period, so there were no headers or footers or watermarks. Okay, you could Google search or ask Pharm Bawo is, I don't know if you know of any tools that help you to craft and build your resume that at least have a free trial period. They're free to try for a period, and no charges till after a month or whatever, so that you don't have those. It's best practice not to have those watermarks or those headers and footers on your CV. It's best practice.
Thank you so much, Cynthia. So far, it's been very, very enlightening listening to you. I don't really have an idea of, I guess, a trial period that they can use, but I can just provide a free template. It's something that I can do. So if a person is interested, I can just send a free template that they can use. I think overall, it's your skill sets and tailoring it to the JD that is the most important thing. You might have a beautiful template, but if what is on the template is not what Cynthia is looking for when she's recruiting, then honestly, having the best template in the world won't help you. Thank you.
Exactly. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks. So lucky you, in Irenosen, you're going to get a free template from the generous Pharm Bawo. So I think we should thank her for that. Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much, Pharm Bawo. There is another question in the comment section by Temitope, and she's asking, happiness, trying to hand you the shorter end of the stick. Second question.
Okay then, so okay, I understand that in our climb, right, in our own, based on our cultural norms and traditional beliefs and so on, being assertive you are told to be seen and not heard, but that's no longer applicable, because I think those walls are gradually crumbling. Okay, so you work in organizations where your MD is gray and is almost a grandpa, and they insist that you go on first name basis. Those walls are gradually crumbling, of where you shouldn't talk to people like this, shouldn't call people by their first names. It should be sir or madam. I think we're fast moving from that era. However, if you work around such people that, you're being assertive is being termed as being rude. There's something called, as much as there's emotional intelligence, you're being culturally aware is also a key skill you need to develop when you are working in the workplace, especially when you are in multinational settings or multicultural settings. You need also some level of cultural awareness, and you need to garnish that with a lot of emotional intelligence. So your emotional intelligence skills and your cultural awareness skills have to come in place. For example, if you are working in the northern part of Nigeria, or you are with you have bosses or colleagues from northern Nigeria. Let's say my boss is a core northerner. Maintaining eye contact for a northerner might be a no-no. Shaking might be off limits. So you need to also be aware of the norms and the nuances around the people you work with, okay? And tone it down when you need to. Sincerely, if you have to do the sir, the man is not going to take anything from you, go ahead. However, if you agree with me, there's a way that you can still relate to them on that term, and yet be firm, and yet be focused and clear on what you want to get. So it's not so much the tone of voice that makes you assertive, because a lot of time it's the tone of voice that makes us come off as being rude. Communication is 73% nonverbal. Some psychologists did a research and says that 73% or more rather 93% of communication is nonverbal. Only 3%, I might be mixing up the percentages, but the point is that what you say is not nearly as important as how you say it and your nonverbal cues that you give up. So in being assertive, you can be firm in what you say, but very, very toned down in the way you articulate it, very respectful in the way you say it, and your body language is relaxed. So maybe we need to also look into that and practice that skill. Assertiveness has to do with, not just what you say, but how you say it as well. Yet you've put your foot down, right? You've put your foot down and you've communicated what you want, but in the sweetest and nicest way. So it's a skill set that I would challenge us to go back and develop. We need to go back and develop. Assertiveness is not what we say, is what we practice and how we come off. Okay, it's very important. So I'll task us to go back and look at that. Then, yes, especially when you feel like you are being dished out the shorter end of the stick. Yes, you can still tell Oga, you don't try, and still be very, very respectful and super calm about it, and you've sent the message home. Is name dropping in an interview, during an interview, a no-no? If I was sitting in a panel and you came name dropping, I'll probably caution you not to. It's not necessary. My point is that it is not necessary. You can, when you are applying for a role, you can put in your cover letter or your cover note that I was referred by so and so. You can put it in the subject of your email, so referred by. You can do that, but during the interview, let's keep it professional, and my candid advice would be no name dropping. But if you want the referral to come for you, put down your application and your cover note that you were referred by so and so. Okay. So are there any questions? I hope that answers your question. Okay.
Great. Thank you so much, ma'am. Do you have any other question? Do we have any other question? If we do, it would be great to type in the comment section or raise our hands. I would like to ask you one of the questions we got during the registration, and someone asked, how can I innovate myself and maintain high value as a pharmacist? This person is a community pharmacist, but it would be great for you to answer it in the light of the different specialties available to us as professionals. How can we generally innovate ourselves and maintain high value as pharmacists?
Okay. That's a very it's apt, considering the crowded job market and even the business space and the times we're living in. It's very apt. So personally, my advice would be start with being a curious learner. I consider, look, anybody who is hungry for knowledge, who wants to know what's out there, can't go wrong. So you have to be a curious learner. You want to know what's new, what's applicable, what is the future looking like. That puts you 2 or 3 steps ahead so that you begin to reinvent yourself and innovate to get there before others even catch on. Okay, you should be an early adopter. If there are new current trends going on, don't wait till other people have tried it and it's not failed or worked. If you see that it will be valuable for you in your practice or your career or as an individual, embrace it, try it out, and see how it goes. Someone talked about data analytics and he asked a question. Asked Pharm Bawo a question about big data and data analytics. Now that's one area that I got so curious about, and I did a course on HR analytics, and I started doing some free courses and so on. And I'm thinking to myself, if tomorrow, what's the future of human resources management? The future of human resources management is digital. It's AI. It's virtual reality. It's robotics. It's humanless. Can you imagine human resources, but it's going to be run by machines who don't feel, who don't have emotions. But someone has to manage the machines, right? And someone has to manage the people who are managing the machines. So it's just about thinking, putting building blocks one on top of the other, starting from curiosity and thinking about what the landscape and the future will be, so that you reinvent yourself and be 2 or 3 steps ahead. I don't want us to be laggards. I don't want us to wait till trends have caught on and then we're trying to catch up. Let's try as much as possible to be in the forefront. And that can only happen if you know what is available, the information you have at your disposal, the network you have that can expose you to what's new and what's trending. I believe that for the landscape, in terms of the career options for a pharmacist, look, I say this without sounding patronizing. I'm not patronizing anybody. If I were to come back again in my next life, I would still choose to be a pharmacist, because a pharmacist is very dynamic. There was a time that Glo would only hire, or no, they won't only hire, but if you were a pharmacist who has been a sales rep before, your getting a job in Glo was almost automatic. So I know a lot of senior colleagues who were in that generation who all worked in Glo because they were pharmaceutical sales reps. Okay, and then the industry, the trends have changed. Okay, it's no longer the case, but they are reinventing themselves. The future of pharma too is digital. So think about health tech, think about big data, think about technology enabled solutions. Think about HR. I would like to see more people come into the HR space. One of the things that motivated me was that I would want to gather all the skills and experience and still go back to lead HR in my space in pharma. That's really my end game, to go back to pharma and be an HR professional who is a pharmacist in pharma. So script out for yourself what you want. Research and know the options. There are so many options available to you. I don't want to belabor that fact. I don't want to bore you. We've talked about that. I don't want to, you can, I talked about healthcare quality management, project management, supply chain management, logistics. So Pharm Bawo was talking about dropship and all of that. These are all solutions, innovative solutions around how we can ensure delivery and access to medicines and healthcare. And so you can think about in that area. You can go into product design. That's not not molecule, not drug molecules now, but apps, software development, products that can help, innovate pharmaceutical and healthcare solutions. You can learn how to code and to program and go into software. The future is tech. It's tech inclined. My point is that don't pigeonhole your career and limit your future prospects. Don't pigeonhole it to the clinical aspect only. Add on to that, and you are a more marketable and more sellable professional at the end of the day. So I don't know if that helps.
Wow, well said, well said. Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay then.
Power by and so on. Specific course recommendations for the online courses they can take.
Okay, in what area, in what field?
Data science.
Oh, okay. So this company is not paying me for this. I'm just saying this based on my own personal experience with their brand. So I did my HR analytics course with Utiva, and I found their curriculum very relatable. I learned how to use Power BI and Excel for analytics. So in the area of data analytics, again, data science is wide. It's a discipline, it's wide. So you need to, like Pharm Bawo said, determine where you want to focus on, right? So that will help you to know what skill set. So if you're interested in data mining, for example, and extracting, transforming, and loading data, and just, data analytics is different from data analysis. You can do data analysis on Excel. So if you want to analyze complex data, you should learn Excel. If you want to present your data in a beautiful dashboard, interactive dashboard that helps, people to make informed decisions, then maybe a tool like Power BI is something you need to learn. The field of data analytics is very broad. So you need to break it down and know what area. So you start again with the end in mind. Do I want to be in data visualization? Do I want to work in the strategy department of the company and help them gain market intelligence, analyze the data from what is going on to know how to position ourselves in the marketplace? And you will need data for that. So maybe you go for a course that teaches you how to use Excel and how to use Power BI for data visualization. I'm not the pro in this area. I'm just sharing with you from the little that I know. So you need to go back and do more work. But there's also, I took a data analytics course on Shaw Academy, SHAW. It's free. And I liked it because it took me back to statistics. I went back to learn mean, median, mode, odds and probabilities and so on, because you also need that, those statistical bits when you're doing data analysis. So it depends on where you want to function, how you want to function, where in which capacity, in which organization. So you take it in bite sizes. If you go do the full data science course, you might get overwhelmed. You will not know where to start from. So I would advise taking in bite sizes. So those are the two sides. For Nonye who is interested in HR, you can also look up, it's called AI HR Academy. It's HR analytics for HR people. So you can also look that up for those who and just do a Google search. If I find anything, I'll find out from my colleagues in data analytics and business intelligence in the office to also recommend, and I'll be glad to share that with Pharm Taiwo afterwards. And also, I'm happy to share my presentation slides as well. So I'll update that with that information and share that afterwards. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, Mao. It has been. I'd just like you to share your final word as we close, Mao. Final words, as well as how people can reach you if they would like to contact you personally.
Okay, then. For me, I would say the world is your oyster. I mean, just go make the most out of it. And you have access to people now on LinkedIn and all the professional sites and network. Please don't go on this journey alone. We wouldn't have come this far if we all, worked in silos. So yes, I'm happy to connect. I'm posting my LinkedIn, the link to my LinkedIn, so you can connect with me on LinkedIn. I would say to the leadership of the Young Pharmacist Group of PSN Lagos, I commend this, and I would say it's also a step in the right direction. I would like to see more of this, because it will give an opportunity for those who have gone ahead to also come and share. They say if you stand on the shoulders of those who have gone before, is it giants? I can't remember the African adage, you will see far. So that would be my charge, that you should just be curious, look for people who can help you on the journey, reach out to them, don't be afraid, and your destiny is in your hands. Make the most out of it. Have no fears. Take on challenges, and we're here. So you'll be fine. So I don't want to give you a pep talk, so I'm avoiding getting into that pep talk mode. So that's what I can say now.
Right, Ma. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Welcome.
Thank you also to Pharm Bawo, who stayed all through the second session. Thank you also for sharing your thoughts with us in the second session. We do appreciate you, from Cynthia, Sanyaolu, and Pharm Bawo Ogunro. It has been a wonderful way to spend our time this evening. I would also like to thank all those who have stayed to participate in today's session. I'd like to encourage you to check out our YouTube page. You can look at sessions again. You can watch the sessions again, so that the points you gain can actually sink in. And I do hope that as we put into practice all of the learning points, we'll be able to scale our careers and lead success.
Take on challenge.
Thank you. At this point, I'll ask our state coordinator, Pharm Emmanuel Obayomi, to share the closing remarks as we leave.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. It's been an honor. It's been an honor to be here. I want to appreciate our facilitators. Thank you very much, Pharm Bawo Ogunro and Cynthia Sanyaolu. It's really been an insightful session. I really learned a whole lot, and I'm sure YPs in Lagos are also very grateful for these insights that you've shared. So I want to appreciate you. I want to appreciate you for taking out the time. I want to appreciate all YPs for taking out the time to be here from 4 o'clock down to this time. Also, I want to appreciate Taiwo, who I would say spearheaded this planning alongside the head of the Education and Training Committee, that's Victor Amana, and his team, for also putting up this session together. I would also want to encourage YPs to stick around for tomorrow. Tomorrow is another session which we'll be having from Suleiman He was actually with us from the start of this session up to like, I would say 30 minutes ago. So I would want YPs to stick and also join us tomorrow for pharmacy practice and business model innovation. That's also going to be a very insightful session. So thank you very much for joining us today. Once again, I want to appreciate our facilitators for sparing their time and their wealth of knowledge. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Emmanuel Obayomi. Thank you once again, Cynthia Sanyaolu and Bawo Ogunro. Thank you very much, everyone, for showing up today. Thank you. Thank you to all those who asked questions. I do hope that your questions were satisfactorily answered. We look forward to having you once again tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll have one session to be facilitated by Pharm Suleiman Sule of Shelf Life, and it promises to be very insightful as well. Starts by 4 p.m. See you tomorrow, everyone. Thank you. Have a wonderful evening.